Don't. Yeah. I don't need to go to the live dashboard. There we go. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. All right. I just got to spam people really quick. And then we'll be ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a hot second. Let the spammage commence. Oh, I got to type it first. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Spam. All set. Oops. That's fine. I want to move this over here. I'm going to kill that. There we go. Close that. Actually, hold on. That goes over here. That's what I want. There we go. I think I'm ready to rock and roll now. Okay. I think we're ready. Whee. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live stream. Today is just kind of hanging out, talking about whatever we feel like talking about, Q&A, that sort of thing. You know, that's pretty much what we're doing today. So, yeah, just start throwing questions in the chat or telling me what you want me to do. And, yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing today. So that is a state law in Wisconsin. What's a state law in Wisconsin? Wisconsin's been in the news a lot lately, so I want to know what this state law has to do with Wisconsin. Kaho, welcome. You're not teaching today? Today's a Tuesday. Why are you not teaching, good sir? Brian Dixon, thank you for confirming your Feybound pledge. Fingers crossed shipping doesn't hurt. Shipping always hurts, dude. There's no getting around it. Shipping costs suck. Every time you get them, it sucks. It sucks for you. It sucks for me. The only person that wins from shipping costs is probably the shipping companies, I would imagine. Yeah, so no, they're always going to suck. They're always going to suck, dude. That's just life. Brew Rose Lion, hello, good morning. Thank you for the super sticker, I think that's called. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, Happy New Year very soon. What is it? What's today? The 30th of December. So we have 2 more days and it'll be the new year. You guys know what happens on New Year's Day? The new year? Absolutely nothing. It's the same. It's just a new day like every other day. But we like to attach significance to it for some reason. New Year's resolutions always give me a kick. You know, I literally was like, somebody emailed me today. I was reading an email and they wanted to do like a blog post. They're doing a blog post of a bunch of different publishers and creators and stuff, writers and things. Yeah, would you like to be in the live stream? Okay, you're welcome to be in the live stream. And they're like, do you have any like New Year's resolutions I can put in the blog post and stuff? And I went on a tirade, well, a short tirade about how I don't like New Year's resolutions and they're stupid. And if I hadn't already wanted to do something and had a goal for something in 2025, why would I magically want to have something in 2026? So, I mean, all of my goals for 2026 were set like 6 months ago when we planned out our next projects and stuff. So I don't know. New Year's resolutions have never made sense to me. Like my life, why would my life like change all of a sudden in one day where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna turn things around this year? It just seems silly to me. There are a couple of different quotes I like that I actually think of these quotes very frequently, almost daily. The one is usually attributed to Benjamin Franklin, and it goes along the lines of, don't put off to tomorrow what can be done today. In other words, don't procrastinate, just get it done. And then the other one is a guy called Jocko Willink. You may not have heard of him. But he is like, he used to be a U.S. Navy SEAL, and now he does a bunch of like leadership training crap. And he does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too. He's hardcore. He's hardcore. And his is the quote or whatever I have from him is, discipline is freedom. discipline is freedom. So don't procrastinate, be disciplined, and that's going to go well for you. So anyway, that's every time I have this New Year's resolution stuff, it's like, well, that goes in the face of like just common sense. And that's why most New Year's resolutions probably fail too. Everybody's getting depressed. Like, you, Luke, you suck. You just depress us. Okay. All right. Brian Dixon says, I would love to know more about creating published adventures. I'm working on some for a system called Horde Wars at the moment. Brian, you need to tell me what you want to know, because I'm happy to, we can deep dive into a whole bunch of crap about publishing stuff. I'm happy to do that. I don't share secrets. I don't keep secrets on that horse crap. I'll just tell you what's up. Oh, we got another buddy who wants to come to the live stream. Oh, the doggy. Hey, my doggy, daddy. Are you a doggy? You trying to give me a kiss? You're trying to give me a kiss, aren't you? No. You know why we don't kiss doggies? Let me tell you why we don't kiss doggies. Number one, dogs eat poop. That's why, number one, you don't kiss doggies. Number two, doggies lick their own butts, which also has to do with poop. So this mouth has had more poop in it than her butt. Literally, because she eats cat poop. And we've caught her, and she gets in trouble. We try to not let her do it, but that's really hard when you have as many cats as we do. So anyway, more poop in that mouth than has come out her butt. That right there is a compelling reason not to give her kisses. But she loves giving kisses. You got to be careful around her, because she'll just turn around and be like, blah, 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 if you're not careful. There we go. Oh. Jackie Geek says, in no quarter, you should dump charisma and replace it with talkie. Yeah, that would be funny. that would be totally Luke, but I don't know that. Hey, I forgot to turn on one of my lights. One of our lights isn't on. Hold on a second. Pause the live stream. All right, now we can continue. Come here. Yeah, I'm going daddy. Okay, there. I looked at my camera and I was like, hey, I left one of my lights off. That's not gonna work. Okay. Kaho says, as a new GM, but a player sends the red box, how should I start a group? All right, well, start a group. I don't know how to say this in a way that doesn't sound Captain Obvious, but you just start a group. So you got to start finding players. You can start by like, if you have friends, some people have friends. I don't have that many friends, but you might have more friends than I do. Ask your friends, find if your friends want to play. If you've been a player, then you probably know other people that play. So you could be like, hey guys, I want to be a game master. Want to join my game? And then have them come play. I will tell you this though. You can obviously go on like online, like Start Playing. You can post games on Start Playing and get players from all over the world and probably have a lot of success filling those games more quickly. Maybe, unless it's just purely saturated over there. I have no idea. But that's playing online is a way to find players too. Probably very quickly, especially if you don't live in a large city. But I will say this, if you're trying to start up a group, asking your friends to play can be a trap. And this is what I mean. If you have friends that like don't usually play D&D or whatever the game is you want them to play, and then you're like, hey, will you play? They might say yes, but they're really doing it because of, socially politeness stuff. They might not really care at all about playing the game that you're interested in. So what many times will happen is that those friends, those players, won't care about the game that much, and they're really only there for the social aspect of it. And so you sometimes get if you have a group, especially if your group is composed of mostly friends who don't really care about the game and they're mostly there for the social aspect of it, what you get are players who aren't really serious about the game. And what I mean by serious is like you can laugh and have fun and have hilarious moments and do crazy stuff, but still be serious about the game, right? But if you get people that don't care about the game and are really just there for the social aspect, and they're not serious about the game in the way that I mean by that, then what you tend to get is bad players. You get players who just like screw around, and they just don't care, man. And so you have a game that, and you guys know what I mean. The people, you all game masters who have had people in your groups who are like that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're excited, you're there for the game, you're like, this is sweet, I'm running the game, I'm excited. And then your players don't give a flying crap, and they just like, yeah, whatever. And they're not just being, players are silly, right? Players do goofy things, but most players have like, limits. There are things that they are willing to do, but they know there's a line. So like players will be silly and do goofy stuff, but there's a line, and they know there's a line, and they don't cross it, right? But casual players, we'll call them, your friends who don't care about the game, we'll just call them casual players. They don't know what the lines are. If they spend all 4 hours of the game session climbing trees and jumping out of them, that's great for them. They had a blast, and they don't really think there's anything wrong with that. And if your group of casual players, like, they might ignore every single plot hook you send them and go off and stir up trouble somewhere else, causing you to improvise an entire session of horse crappery, which may or may not be fun for some groups or some game masters. I'm not necessarily saying that that's wrong or bad, but like if you've prepared a game session and you have like stuff you've actually prepared, the chances of established players or players who are serious about the game just ignoring your plot hooks and doing whatever is low compared to the frequency that casual players will just say screw that crap and go do their own thing, right? Because they don't take the game seriously. They don't understand some of the social norms, some of the social contract stuff of like, oh, that's a plot hook. Oh, the game master probably spent hours preparing an adventure. I might want to go do that. Not just out of respect for the game master, but also because it might be more fun to do something that has been carefully prepared than to do something that gets pulled out of his butt, So the warning I guess I'm giving about like starting a group is that if your friends don't really care about the game, you might not get a good game, right? And you might not get a good game because you might not have good players. And I feel like this is super important. My cat, can you hear my cat? She's so like just jealous, just wants attention. She's howling in the background. It was the same cat that was up here too. So if you get, where was I going? So if you have friends and your group is just friends and they don't care and they're just casual, and you could end. Oh, the point I was trying to make is that it is understated, I feel like, and underemphasized how incredibly important good players are to the overall success and quality of a game. Because when you have an excellent game master but bad players, you have a bad game. Hands down, it's a bad game. Like no game master, the quality of a game master's skills and how good they are cannot make up for a group full of bad players. Now, if you got mostly good players and there's one bad player, okay, but you've all been in groups with one bad player, and you know how much it negatively impacts your experience, no matter how good your game master is. So imagine if you had an entire group filled with bad players. Oh, dude, that would just be like unbearable, And so it is important to have good players. It's super important to have good players, and they contribute to the overall fun of a game like you would not believe it. I've been in same game master. I've been in games. Usually they're convention games, where, and this is not recently, but I know back in the day, there have been some conventions I remember going to where I just had bad players and the games kind of sucked and I felt kind of down. I know the game wasn't that good. I know that, a few of the players are just not that good at players, and then everybody probably didn't have as much fun. because, but now, see, now especially recently, I run how many games do I run right now? I run 3 games a week right now, and a total of 5 campaigns, 3 games a week. And I have outstanding players in my games. Like, I would say 90% of my players right now are in the outstanding category, like just top notch. And the ones that aren't outstanding are still very good players. Like, I don't have any players right now that are like what I would say bad or anything. And my games are just amazing. This is an example of my games right now. 3 games a week is a lot. You know that. For those of you who've done this, you know that. And there are some games I will not be super excited for. And I'm just like, oh, I got to go run this game now. But this is the craziest thing that happens. I won't be super excited to run the game, but then I show up to the game, because I'm the game master. I have to be there. I show up to there, and then my players, like, my mood shifts from not super excited to, yeah, let's go, because my players bring it. They're excited, they're bringing their A game, and that is contagious, and it shifts my mood, and it makes my game mastering better. It makes my experience of the game better. So, like, the only reason I bring that up is just to give you an example, one small example of why good players influence the game so much, and they make such a big difference. And so, Kaho, as you're looking to start a group, I guess my recommendation is try to make sure that you're filling it with quality players. And that might mean you don't know them. They might not be your friends. I have had this thing happen to me where, if I think back of all the players I've had over my entire lifespan as a game master, most of the so-so or bad players have come from getting my friends or maybe my brother to play. Almost every single one of my amazing players has come from me recruiting and having strangers, people I don't even know who they are, show up to the game. And they, some of them turn out obviously not to be that great, but many of them turn out to be great players. And I think one of the big differences between recruiting from friends who aren't interested in the game and recruiting from strangers who are interested in the game is just that. They are interested in playing the game. They want to play the game. They are there primarily. This cat keeps howling. She doesn't stop howling. I think she's jealous of the dog. They're primarily interested in playing the game. The number one reason they're there is to play the game. And they want to do it. They want to play the game. They take it seriously, And that makes a big difference. When you have people who are invested, who want to be there and want to play the game, and it just makes a big difference. Huge, huge difference. You might not know them. They might be strangers, but holy crap, it makes a big difference in the quality of the game. And so I have historically had amazing results running games for total strangers. And then if it's an ongoing campaign, obviously, are you done howling? No? You pain in the butt? My goodness. Look at this fluffy bucket. Jeez. Yeah, you like that? The dog's like, hey, I'm taking a nap here. What's the deal? Cat's loud. I was sleeping. I know you were. She's loud. What's your problem? I know you're jealous. I'm touching the cat. I know. You're jealous. Don't touch the kitty. Just pet the doggy. You're so jealous. I will literally be talking to my wife. I'll be up in the kitchen or whatever talking to my wife, and the dog will come up and just be wanting attention, like so jealous. Start to how they kind of jump up on you, put their paws on your legs and stuff, and they got this look in their eyes of like, oh. She'll do this all the time. Whenever I'm talking to my wife, she'll come up and just be, give me attention. She's so jealous. No. Okay. Yeah, I think I kind of wound that topic out. I think I kind of addressed that a little bit. So we'll call it a day. All right. So if you have any follow-up questions, Kaho, please feel free to do so. And then I think Brian Dixon, I'm waiting for questions from you too about the publishing aspect. So when I see them, I'll respond. I think I got everything in the sheet. Is Tashio still here? Have we not had any more questions? All right. Sunman Moon is trying to add a voice effect to your voice. I've actually thought of that too. I've literally, like, I do special voices and crap, but like I don't think I'm particularly good at them. And so, and they take effort, obviously. And sometimes I practice them too. And I've literally had the thought of, is there some sort of like software I can put on my computer that will literally like change my voice live, dynamically live, as I speak into the microphone, so my players will hear a different voice. I mean, that's got to exist. I'm not the first person that's thought of that, obviously. And there are lots of very smart people out there who can probably figure out how to do that. But that's something I was like, I thought about this like about a month ago, and I was like, that'd be really cool. And I don't have a lot of time, so that's kind of where the idea died. But that would be a sweet software to have. Oh, man. That's the type of thing that I would pay a subscription for. You know, not like, I wouldn't pay like $20 a month for it, but $5 a month, oh, I'd pay for that. Absolutely, because that would just increase the quality of my games. And it would make my job easier. You know, I could pre-select the voices that I wanted to use for certain NPCs and stuff, you know, or do it on the fly or something. Oh, man, that would be really cool. I would love that. And you figure with all the technology and all the horse crappery that we got going on right now these days that they'd be able to figure that out. All right, I'm gonna prowl the comments here. Uh-oh. Red Pepper John's in the house. What up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Man, are you gonna, so Red Pepper, man, I'm gonna be at, you and we met at Gamehole Con, I believe, and then you played in my game at Gen Con, and then that was cool. I'm gonna be at Gary Con this year, and then I'll be at I'll do Gen Con again. I was actually thinking of going to, there's a small gaming convention called Marmalade Dog where I live. I might actually show up there for a day, just kind of drive in, because it's like an hour and a half away from where I live. I might just go there for a couple of days or something. You know, take my wife on a little trip. She likes to go on little trips. You know, she'll stay at the hotel room and stuff. But yeah, so I was thinking of that too. But if you're gonna be at any of those, man, you gotta let me know, and then you need to drop in at my table. Just come. I'll make room for you, dude. The lunch break crew checking in. Welcome, Rachel. How you doing? Fred convinced your supervisor to let you run games in the work center after hours long ago. Years of large group games. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you get like a and then the great thing too is that you just like, well, you're sliding off from me. Either you're gonna figure this out or you're gonna get put down. You need to figure this out, doggy. All right. This might be the solution right here. Yeah, especially if you can play, like, if your players are all at the same work and then you just, like, once work is over, you all just head there and start playing. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Have you seen the masks for kids that change their voices? No, I haven't. I don't know anything about that. Voice changers exist. I mean, I know that voice changers exist, like, and stuff, because whatever, but, like, for this specific implementation, I guess is what I'm talking about. What are you going to show me later, Tashio? No, Goliath Cleric. Oh. Oh, Goliath Cleric, are you saying that the voice changer software exists? Oh, dude, can you just drop a link to it in our chat, and then that'll remind me to like ask you about it. We're not gonna have time to talk about it in today's meeting. We gotta make today's meeting as streamlined as possible. But yeah, I need to figure that crap out. Voice mod is probably the best at that. What is voice mod? Is voice mod like a Discord thing? Brunch Princess, hello, welcome. All right, I think you're done. You're done. I'm tired of, no, there's no kisses. I'm tired of holding you. They're probably all tired of staring at you too, right? You guys, should I put the dog down, or do you guys want to keep looking at the dog? I know she's a big adorable turd. She's kind of the color of a turd too. You know that? You're the color of a turd. That's not very nice, Daddy. That's not very nice? No, it's not very nice. I'm gonna tell Mommy. Okay, that's right. Oh, voice mod is a desktop. You're not drinking my tea. What do you think you're doing? No, don't give me kisses. More dog. Okay. Oh, I see some questions now. Hey. Voice mod. I'll have to look at that. Joshua says, a player in my game has brought up that they would like to become better at talkie bits, but they are rather reserved. Any tips to get them out of their shell? They have to do it. They just have to do it. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's this is one of those things where, like, something is hard at first and you're scared of it because you never do it, right? At least in my opinion. And once you start actually doing it, you discover, hey, this isn't that bad. It's not that big of a deal, right? And so you have to just do it. You have to break the ice and just start doing it. That's just dude, this is not a game. Like this is a player thing. Like, this is on them. If they want to do a thing, they have to do a thing. Like, I don't know, man. You just got to do it. As far as a game master, like, you have to make space for them to do it, right? If everybody else is like yammering and they won't shut up, you need to, let's call your player, I don't know, Dan, all right? And Dan wants to do more talkie crap. But Dan, hey Dan, you want to say anything to this NPC? Just like quiet everybody else down and call Dan out and be like, hey Dan, did you want to say anything? And give him the opportunity, right? And then if he doesn't want to say anything, okay, that's cool, no problem, keep playing. And if he does, great, you gave him the space to do it. So I think that's really the biggest thing you can do. You know what I mean? But like, other than that, if that's a goal he has, then he's got to take ownership of that and do it, But like, I wouldn't worry a whole lot about it, because like, even if he says he wants to, but then he never takes action on it, like, who cares, right? It's a game. You're there to have fun. You're not there to like make people feel uncomfortable or put them on the spot. So don't like pressure him. And like, if he never comes out of his shell and never really gets better at the talkie bits and just kind of is quiet most of the time, and then he takes his turns in combat, but that's kind of it. If he's having fun and he's enjoying the game, everybody's won. You've all won. He's won. You've won. Everybody's won. D&D and tabletop RPGs, it's not like, this is our leisure. This is what we do for fun. Now, can it have benefits in our lives? Absolutely. Absolutely. There can be actual tangible benefits, how it improves our lives. But really, at the end of the day, it's a leisure activity. And so trying to worry about how can I help this person grow in this area of their life, that's like, that's not the focus, right? That's kind of like if that happens, great, right? But like, I wouldn't try to put the focus on that, because then you're just gonna make someone maybe feel uncomfortable or something, and then when they were having fun, like I was having fun, but now they keep, it feels like they're pressuring me to like do a thing, and I don't really want to, I don't feel comfortable doing it. And now they're not having fun anymore. And then you've lost, and they've lost, because this is a game. It's a leisure activity. You know what I mean? You're not here to grow and become a better person. Will it help you to grow and become a better person? It might. It could also help you, it could also make you become a worse person, because there are groups that just basically live out their, like, you know, their perverse fantasies in their TTRPGs. That's not going to help you become a better person. So anyway, that's what I had. That's all I got to say about that, I suppose. All right. Well, you weigh too much. You're a little fatty. You're gonna take a break. You're gonna take a break. No, Daddy, don't do it. Don't put me down, Daddy. All right. There you go. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Oh man, voice mod's gonna change my life. Oh, it can be a bit finicky with equalizing software. I definitely use equalizing software. That's why my voice sounds the way it sounds, because I have my equalizer doing a whole bunch of stuff to it. And it gets really nice when I get like really close to the microphone. Then the only thing is that, like, I'm not gonna have a microphone in frame. It's absolutely silly to have a microphone in frame. So you can have it on a boom stand right here, and it's like 6 inches, 8 inches away from my mouth. You know, I swear there's some people that their microphones are part of the, like, what they're trying to do. Like, they get these, have you guys seen these guys? They have, well, there are two extremes that annoy me. The one extreme is the person who buys this, at least it looks like a fancy microphone. It probably doesn't cost very much. It just looks nice, but it's all fancy. Maybe it's got special colors and it has lights on it. And then it's got the pop filter or something in front of it. Usually it's got all the whiz bangs on it. And then it's in frame, very obnoxiously in frame, so that they want you to know that they have a nice microphone. You know, they want you to know what their setup is, because I'm pro, right? And so it's so obnoxiously in frame, you know. Now the middle ground. Okay, let me do that. So that's the obnoxious, like, I have an amazing microphone and I want you to know I do, and I'm putting it right here in frame, so and like, it's not a dynamic mic either. Okay, so dynamic mics are the ones that need to be right next to your mouth. Okay, it's easily a microphone that they could just have on a, you know, out of frame if they wanted to, and it would pick up the sound almost as good, or probably as good, because, like, sometimes these guys just have the fancy mic, but it's not even close to their mouths. You know, it's just in frame because they want you to see the awesome mic. The opposite of that is the guy who's, like, not using the microphone properly. And so, like, I love the guys who, like, they have, like, it's like a cheap little wire microphone that's supposed to be a lapel mic that you, like, clip on, but instead of clipping it on, they, like, hold it up to their mouth or something. It just looks silly. So I think that's probably the extreme. Or the guys who, like, they'll use a microphone in a way that it's not supposed to be used. And I don't think they're doing it out of ignorance. I think they're doing it intentionally, like, you know, like, this is a microphone that is not intended to be held in your hand. It's supposed to be on a boom stand or some sort of arm or something, but I'm going to hold it in my hand, you know, because I'm being different, I suppose. You know, so those are the two extremes, you know. And then there's the middle ground, right? There's the middle ground of the people who are they're just there, they're doing their thing. Now, you might have someone who literally has a dynamic microphone that's supposed to be right next to their mouth, so you can get that beautiful deep resonation, and it's beautiful. You know, it's like, it's savory. But that's a dynamic microphone. It's supposed to work that way, you know? Like, that's how it has to be next to your mouth. It's going to be in frame. But they usually try to have it off to the side a little bit so that it's not super obtrusive, and it's usually black and very discreet, okay? That's cool, right? And then, of course, you have what I do, which is just, I have a boom stand, you know, and the microphone it's right above my head. It's out of frame. It's just out of frame, so you can't see it. I'm gonna adjust it, and I messed it up. But it's about, now I'm gonna have to tighten that arm up. But it's about 8 inches away, I'd say, from my mouth. So it gets pretty good pickup, but it's out of frame. So I'm not trying to, like, impress you. I think my microphone is like a couple $100, and I have a nice cord, and I have a cool setup. I have, like, a cool little equalizer, Go XLR horse crap. But I'm not trying to impress anybody with, like, my super fancy setup. I'm just doing my thing, you know. But some people like they get the ego kick out of like showing you my software or my hardware, I should say. So I don't know how we started talking about that, but somebody said something that triggered that. Okay, let's see more questions. We got a bunch of stuff in chat. Brian Rakasavar. Hello, I just killed your last name. I'm not going to try it again either. First time in your stream, I've been inspired to try DMing and find the materials you share are very helpful. I can't wait to get started. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, good sir. I appreciate that. And I hope you have a lot of fun too, man. It can be a lot of fun. It can also be very not fun sometimes. It depends. But keep at it, man. Seven Umoose says, I would like to try and write one-shots for me and my friends to play. We're all new to D&D. I was curious if you have any structure framework tips on writing the one-shots in Word documents. Yes, I literally have an adventure template. I'm pretty sure it's free on my website. I'm gonna help you find it. We're gonna make sure you have it one way or another. Let me see. Let's share my screen. Woo. So let's go to my website, thedmlair.com, and then we're gonna go to digital products, and then we're gonna do a search for adventure template. There we go. RPG adventure template right there. It's free. It's completely free. You can just click it, buy it. It'll send you it. It's literally a Word document. This is the basic adventure template that I use in my games, kind of. Like, there's a lot of this adventure template that I'll ignore or customize or whatever when I make my games, just because, you know, I'm a veteran, so like I don't need to. Sometimes I'm like NPCs, screw that. I'll improvise those as needed, you know. Or like the background, it's like, I know what the background is, it's right here, I'm not writing it down, you know. But things like random encounters, I'm gonna wanna make those ahead of time. Adventure details, I'm gonna write those ahead of time. You know, the creatures, I'm gonna figure those out, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, but anyway, this will give you a good framework for writing your adventures. It gives you a little bit of explanation too of like how you're supposed to do it. So like, actually, let me just pull this up real quick. I'll just kind of walk you through it. I think that'll probably be useful. Let me see if I can find it. Miscellaneous adventure template. This looks right. Let's see if this is right. All right. Go away. There we go. So basically, you have there's just like there's some design checklist here, things to consider for your adventure, and then it's just got, you know, adventure background and then some brief, you know, details of what you should do here. NPCs, random encounters, you know, plot hooks, adventure details. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it, you know. This is super simple, and you just basically, it relies upon you to fill in this stuff. But what this does do is it helps you think through the most important parts of writing your adventure out. You know, the most important parts. Like, you don't want to forget, you know, like the location where it takes place. You need random encounters. They will come in handy, even if you're not sure why. A plot hook. You need to have at least one plot hook, you know, and then obviously adventure details. And how do things end? What's the wrap up? You know, so like it helps you think through like the big high level things. So it's not complicated, you know, but that'll probably help you get going at the very least. And then, what you can also do is if you want to actually see, that's like the basic template I use, and a lot of our published adventures have that template too. If you want to kind of see how I don't know how helpful this will be for you, but we do have like adventures on here that you can get for like 5th edition and Pathfinder 2. And these are the bundles. They're going to cost a little bit more, but if you want to just get like an individual adventure, you know, then you can get them a lot cheaper, obviously. But that'll kind of give you an idea of how we write them kind of for publication, which is not super helpful for you writing it for your own one shot, because like what the notes you need in your like personal, like, you know, adventure writing out notes or whatever are different than probably what you're going to find in a published adventure, so they're not exactly the same. Like, and to show you what I mean, what I'll do here is I will pull up one of my adventures that I wrote. I'll pull up one that I wrote for, hold on a second, let me find one. And I'll show you what I mean by it'll look different when you do it yourself. Let me, I gotta find the right folder. I wasn't planning on doing this, so now I gotta nail down the right folder. Let's look at my Shadow Dark game. We're gonna look at my first adventure that I wrote called The Rift Job. So this will give you I started with that same basic template, and this is what I came up with. So it's called The Rift Job, and these are not all the creatures. I started listing the creatures and then stopped, so it's it's not complete. And I obviously did not make any random encounters. I wrote, this is my background. This is the background because I was like, this is stupid. I don't want to write this. It's in my head. It's good enough. But then some other things in here, I actually wrote out a whole lot more, and then I have notes and stuff. And this is where like I put some, I think this is a homebrew. I don't think there was a guard. And so I homebrewed the guard, and the guard captain for this game. And so I just threw that in there. And then here's a loot list that I just kind of came up with. And then, but this is what it looks like. Oh, I think there was what does it say? A parchment with like a poem on it or something, and then I wrote a letter. So this is stuff they could find. They had to go into a guild hall at a special, like, what is it? It was a celebration or something. And they had to go in, it was kind of like a social quest. They had to go in and get some information and figure things out. They were passing themselves off as guests of this event. And so, but you'll notice that a lot of these things, like the bedrooms and stuff, like I didn't really put a whole lot in here. I just put like the notes that I needed, I didn't read aloud text and stuff, because I just kind of improvised that. Sometimes I make read aloud text for my games, not all the time though. And then I designed some events that would happen every 30 minutes or so, to kind of spice things up so that the adventure wasn't static. And then, I just kept on, now for this, so now for the secret research facility, now I started doing read aloud text, and I started like, this looks a whole lot more like what you might find in a published adventure. I probably, for whatever reason, I just started doing it more in depth for my own personal notes, because I don't publish these anywhere. This is just what I did for my adventures, So, but this all started with the adventure template I just shared with you, and so now I have I read aloud text and all the information I need, and everything is like really well fleshed out for that adventure. But that's like an example of what I do for my games. All right. Let's go. I think I answered that question. How are the holidays treating me? Not too bad. Not too bad. My wife and I went on a Christmas trip. We like to go to casinos, and I play craps. She plays slot machines, and I think I won about $100. My wife, I think she lost about $100 or so, maybe something like that. And if you go to casinos, you know that if you win anything, you have beat the house. You have won. Usually you don't. And I had to play at a $15 table too. Oh my gosh, that was brutal. But I was just doing the pass line with odds and playing for very short sessions. Like 15 minutes, maybe a half an hour. And then if things were going poorly, I'll leave. And if things were going well, leave. Because if you stick around, if you had lost some, you're probably going to lose more. And if you had won some, you're probably going to lose it again. So I had to like implement very short table sessions, and I didn't do a lot of playing because it was a $15 table. What are you going to do? It's too expensive to do a whole lot of playing. So, but I came out about $100 ahead. So that was a very good. So I'm very happy with that. So Brian Dixon says, when a system is $20 for a PDF, what is a good price point or amount of material to provide for an adventure? I'm trying to balance how much time or money I put into creating the published work. Oh, I mean, it's kind of a question of what people are willing to pay for it, really. You know, there used to be, when I first started publishing, this was a few years ago, obviously, somebody had like a rule of thumb. Something tells me it was like $1 per 10 pages, maybe. So like if you have an adventure you're going to publish and it's 50 pages long, then you could charge $5 for it. But that seems ridiculous to me. Ridiculously, like, not enough money for all of that effort you put into it. Because I'll tell you, I read adventures, and there's a lot of effort going into an adventure. And if you spend a 50-page adventure and you're only getting $5 per customer for it, oh my gosh, that's painful. That's so painful. If you took, let's just get a calculator. Let's just take a look at it. Let's punch some numbers here, shall we? So if you think that a standard adventure module, you know, is probably about 250 pages long, right? And then those books sell for about $60 these days, right? So that is how many? So pages per dollar. That's the wrong way. 60 divided by 250 dollars per page. Okay, so for every page, it's about 25 cents, I think. So 250 times 25 cents. Yeah. So for every page, it's about 25 cents. That's for a published book, right? Now, you're not going to be selling the published book, probably. You're going to be selling them as PDFs. So you can't charge as much for a PDF as you can for the published book. So if you consider, if I publish a book and it's $60, I'm probably going to charge $40 for the PDF. All right, so now let's do 40 divided by 250. Now we're at about 15 cents a page. So I would say that's probably not too bad. 15 cents a page. So if I have a 50-page PDF, 15 cents a page, I'd charge about $7.50 for it. That's probably reasonable. I would say if you go for like about 15 cents per page for what you charge, that's probably going to get you in the realm of a reasonable price. And if you're just starting and you're bootstrapping things, I would not be putting any money into it. Like, I would not be commissioning artwork that is super expensive, and it will not help you sell anything. Okay. There was a point in time when, now for our published books, we obviously commission lots of artwork. But for some of our digital products, there was a point in time where we usually had just used stock artwork, which is incredibly cheap. But then we were like, maybe we should, if we start commissioning artwork instead of always using stock artwork, that might help sales. And so we literally started commissioning artwork for those digital things. It did not affect sales one bit. It did not help sales go up. In fact, our sales on that particular digital product continued to decline. And so it just was like, so spending more money on artwork did not help sales. Now, the thing is there is an expectation for, especially in the TTRPG space, that you're going to have artwork in a publication, you know? And so I would just use stock artwork, man. Stock artwork for the win. The only problem is that it is getting harder and harder and harder to find stock artwork that isn't AI generated. Like, even if you go on like Adobe stock, 95% of that is AI generated. You got to be careful. Make sure you are weeding that out and then choosing from like the dregs that are left over. And then some places are probably easier to get stock artwork. But like every single, to my knowledge, all the big sites out there are just filled with AI content. And that's going to just become overwhelmingly more and more the choice. So if you've decided not to use AI content, which would be very wise from a business standpoint, then you're going to have a hard time finding artwork. That's just what it is. And I would definitely recommend you stay away from AI artwork. If you dip your toes in those waters, you will find yourself in big trouble very fast. The community as a whole probably just ostracize you and like, ram you into the ground, so just stay away from that unless you want to just be murderized. It's not worth the pain, not worth the pain, my friend. But I would try to bootstrap everything yourself. I'd write the stuff, I'd edit the stuff, I'd do the layout in InDesign or whatever. It's not a word processor. What kind of program is InDesign? It's a layout program. I think that's what it's called. There's probably a term for what it is, but you might not be using InDesign. Microsoft has an option called Microsoft Publisher, which comes with the 365 suite, and you might already have access to that. So you might just lay out your stuff in Publisher or some other alternative. But yeah, I'd bootstrap everything yourself. I wouldn't put any money into it. I would try to put as minimal money into it as possible, because the biggest challenge you're going to get as you move into publishing things is getting people to buy them. Your biggest challenge is not going to be, more likely, isn't going to be writing it or getting it laid out and stuff. It's going to be, how can I get customers who actually want to buy it? That is going to be, by and large, your biggest challenge to overcome, is getting people to buy the thing, right? Because the space is so saturated. Like anybody and their mom and their grandma and their two dead ancestors are on DriveThruRPG publishing stuff. The barrier to entry is so low that everybody's doing it, which means you just have a glut of content out there. And so how do you stand out from the rest? And how do people find you and your content when everybody and their dead ancestors are publishing stuff on DriveThruRPG? Like the barrier to entry is so low that everybody's doing it, and so you have to compete with like everybody, and 90% of the stuff on there is probably not that great, but how do people find the stuff that is great? So anyway, I think your biggest challenge will just be getting people getting eyeballs on it, just so people can consider buying it. Do you have a Stream Deck? Yes, I have a Go XLR. Or a physical device with buttons that can change things on your computer. It's both. The Stream Deck is literally a physical device, and it has a software obviously that hooks up to it. It can change my voice. It does have the ability to change my voice, but I've played around with it a little bit and I kind of don't like it. So I don't screw with it. I hate the shorts or videos where the person is holding a mic up to their mouth, especially when it's not designed to be held that way. It's like they're trying to be cool, I think. Like I'm gonna hold the little like lapel mic up to my mouth, like ha 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 ha. You're not cool, dude. It's a lapel mic. Just clip it on, man. The sound is not any better when you take the lapel mic and clip it up and hold it, instead of having it here, hold it up to your mouth. The sound's not any better. It's not. The single best thing you can do to get better sound, yes, the closer your mouth is to the mic, yes, it's going to be better. But it's a lapel mic. It's already right there, man. It's pretty much a dynamic mic to begin with. It's like, I think they're holding it up. Like if you were to say, look, I want to have the best sound possible, and that's why I'm holding it next to my mouth. Okay, I can accept that. But at that rate, get yourself a better microphone, But I really think the guys who hold it up like this, they think they're cool doing it. It's some sort of trend, I think. They're just like, it annoys the crap out of me. I have some art I paid an artist for, and I'm using Chipaku maps for the boss fight area. ABD, I don't know what that means. I am about to load my adventure with new interesting stat blocks so it has value outside the adventure. You you're using Chipaku maps. Make sure my gut tells me that you do not have permission to use those unless they came with a commercial license and it literally gives you the rights to use those maps in your publication, then you cannot use them. Now, I'm just guessing that it doesn't have a commercial license. I might be wrong. Maybe Chipaku maps do have a commercial license. Maybe there's a tier of Chipaku maps that allow you to publish with their maps. But you need to make sure, okay, that you're not using the maps, trying to publish them and use them without their permission, because you need to have their permission to use those maps. Now, if you have a commercial license, you're good to go. Hey, just make sure you literally have that commercial license. You have it's in writing. It's very clear. If there's like a tier of Chipaku's Patreon that says, if you're at this tier, you have commercial license to publish, that's not good enough. You need to like literally have that commercial license in hand. I would want to have the entire license and I want to read through it and make very sure I know exactly what it allows me to do, what it doesn't allow me to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like you want to check that box very well. Because I'm going to tell you, buddy, Chipaku got money. And like here's the thing, like obviously you don't want to break the law and you don't want to use other people's property without their permission and stuff. But you especially don't want to use somebody who's got money's stuff without their permission, because that means they have money to get an attorney on you, right? And I know they have attorneys. I used to be in a Discord chat with a lot of the big publishers and stuff, along with Chipaku and other people, and I know they got money and they got lawyers and stuff. So you don't want to play with that. That's fire you don't want to play with, man. Of course they kicked me out of that chat too. Yeah. Apparently it came out that I'm a conservative. Oh no. And so they kicked me out. They read into one of my videos and like, Luke doesn't have the same political beliefs as us, and they kicked me out. It's like, okay, all right, well, you guys are gonna play that game, all right, fine, I guess. All right, I just won't be in this chat with the rest of you guys. Not that we ever talked about politics, but apparently they were like, yep, we can't have somebody who believes the things he believes in our chat. He's a very bad person. We'll just kick him out. So okay, whatever, guys. So anyway, I used to be in that chat, not anymore. But I do know from the time that I was there that you don't want to play with that fire, buddy. Don't do the right thing. Make sure you have the rights to use it before you start publishing it. All right, let's see. See if we got some more questions here. Where's my thing? All right. Oh, there's a lot of questions here. I'm missing a bunch of questions. Oh, here's this one I just saw though. Chadamink, what up, dude? Howdy, Luke. Can you talk a little bit about what made you decide to go rules light with your game instead of a SIM style game? I don't know what SIM style game is, but I can definitely tell you why I went rules light. So I've, especially in the last, I would say 2 to 3 years, I've been playing a wide variety of games, from rules light games to rules heavy games. And some of the most rules heavy games are things like Kobold Ate My Children, and Shadow Dark. Those are pretty rules light. And then the rules medium, obviously I've been playing D&D my whole life, and I would consider D&D to be a rules medium, borderline rules heavy game. Okay. And then I've been playing Pathfinder 2 for about 1.5 years now. I think that's about how long I've been playing it. And that is absolutely a rules heavy game. Now, I don't think it's as rules heavy as some games. Something like, I think Hackmaster is probably more rules heavy than Pathfinder 2. And I've played Hackmaster once, but like I was a player in it and I didn't read through all the rules and stuff. I was just kind of like the game master was helping us all play for a one shot. But it definitely struck me as a pretty rules heavy game. So I would say, so I've played the gamut of super rules light all the way up to what I would consider to be pretty rules heavy, Pathfinder 2. And what I've personally found, my personal experience has been that I enjoy running and playing in rules light games more than playing in rules heavy games. That's been my general experience. So with No Quarter, I'm trying to make the game that I want to make, right? It's not a 5e clone. I'm not like, I'm going to take D&D 5e and all the success that it's had, and I'm going to make my own version of it. I'm going to fork it. I'm not doing that. And I'm like saying that in a way that is probably insulting to the people who have decided to do that, but I'm sorry. Like, I'm not doing that, right? What I want to do, I probably should be nicer when I talk about that stuff, because people are going to be like, Luke's a jerk. But I don't want to do that, because it's just like, if I'm going to make my own TTRPG, why wouldn't I make something that's mine? Something that's new? Like, okay, now, if I just want to make money, yeah. If I just want to make money, then what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to take the most successful game system ever, and then I'm going to like make changes and tweaks to it, because what that's going to do is then I'm going to have a much easier job of getting like my followers and stuff, previous customers, to like buy the new thing, because it's so similar to the thing they already play. So getting people to convert over and come over to the dark side and play the new game system might be easier. I might have more customers if I just if I forked D&D 5e and I made my own little changes to it, right? Because there are people that are doing that. Shoot, there's a company that literally copy-pasted the SRD and published it. And they made a bunch of money doing that. And they have people playing their new game. And it's a copy-paste job for all intents and purposes. So like, if I wanted to just make money, you could say that would be very smart, right? Except that everybody's doing it. So roll my eyes, everybody's just copying it. So I'm like, I don't want to be another guy that's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna copy D&D 5e, So I wanted to make my own thing, basically. And so if I'm making my own game, then I'm going to make a game that reflects what I like to do and what I like to play and my interests and like ideas that I have, And so one of those things is like, I prefer rules light games over rules heavy games. Generally speaking, I still like playing D&D 5e. And I'm probably going to keep on playing it for a long time. I'm running a Salt Marsh game right now in D&D 5e and having a blast. I love it. So I'm going to keep doing that, And I also run Shadow Dark and other crap. So, but for my game, I wanted to do my own thing. And so one of those is that I want it to trend more toward rules light than rules heavy. Now, right now, it's probably a rules light game, but this is the alpha. We're releasing the alpha next week. We're going to be releasing the alpha rules, along with No Quarter Magazine, which will give you adventures and monsters. Everything you need to play the game will come out next week for our patrons. And so right now, I think it's probably in the area of like rules light. But it's the alpha, so you don't know what's going to happen. As it gets developed and as we tweak things and change things, like we're going to end up somewhere. But it's definitely going to be more toward rules light or rules medium before it's ever toward the rules heavy. So, but that's like some of the thought processes. That's like some of the thought. I still can't say that. That's like some of the thought processes behind like why I'm preferring rules light games, Also, if I just wanted to make a bunch of money, here's the other thing they don't tell you. This is probably why a lot of this is just me as a publisher and businessman conjecturing. Okay, so let's make that clear. I suspect that the reason a lot of these mainstream games like D&D, Pathfinder 2, all trend toward rules heavy, this is just me conjecturing as a publisher and businessman, is that you can make a whole lot more money selling big books than you can selling small books. If you got a big book, a standard RPG size book, and it's 300 pages or so, you can sell that for $60, $75. if you have a small, like this is the one I have at hand, you know, this is Delve from Bob World Builder and stuff. And the MSRP is not listed on the ISBN barcode. It's not even listed here. But if you get a book like this, and it's 300 pages long roughly, would you pay $60 to $75 for this? Not if you're a discerning consumer, you wouldn't. A book this size is probably worth about $30, maybe half. You might be able to push it for 40, maybe. There was a book. What book was that? Hold on a second. There was a book. Oh man, it's in the OSR. So there's a YouTuber who does OSR content, and he also did a Kickstarter for a book, an OSR book. Does anybody know the name of that book? What is the name of that book? Somebody help me. I'm drawing a blank. Somebody here knows. He's pretty well known. What is that? It's not a simulation game. I'm not creating a simulation game at all. Knave. Yes. Knave. Okay, let's look this up. I think that's the one. I want to make sure. Knave TTRPG. It's actually not a TTRPG. Yes, Knave is the book. So that book, so I was at a bookstore, not a bookstore, I was at a convention, and I had heard of Knave, and I saw it at a convention, and I was like, oh, cool, I think I'll get that. I had decided I wanted to buy it before I even picked it up, you know, because I saw it and I was like, oh, I know the guy who made this, I should buy it, right? And so I picked it up. This is obviously not Knave. I don't own Knave. That story is about to come out. So I picked it up, and Knave is, 7x9, whatever this is. But it's only about that thick. It's super thin, right? And so I was like, oh, and it was mostly just tables, a bunch of tables. And I was like, well, it's not actually a game system. I thought it was its own game system, but it's not. Oh, okay. Well, whatever, And so I was like, huh, okay, fair enough. I'll still get it because this could be helpful. And so like there was the sales guy right there, that was running the booth, and I was like, hey, I want to get this book. And he's like, okay, $50. And I was like, what? This little, not this book, but this is $50. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, and I asked him, I was like, do people actually pay $50 for this? And he's like, I don't know, man. The answer is probably no. I didn't buy it because the perceived value was, I felt like I was holding maybe a $30 book, right? It's hardcover, 7x9. It felt like it was about maybe 100 pages long, but it was super thin, and it was mostly random tables. And we all know that there are online places you can go to get random tables like that, right? Pretty easy, for free. So like I was like, but hey, I'll spend $30 on this, maybe 25, 30, but 50? No. So my point is this: one of the things you got to consider as a publisher when you're publishing books is, how much can I charge for this book? This book is probably about $40. This is a $40 book. Now, I don't know what they're actually going to charge for it because they didn't put the MSRP here for whatever reason. But this is probably about a $40 book. Now, if I have, a big 300-page like D&D 5e book, that's a $60 book these days, right? I think they charge $75 for it, but it's always on sale or you get bundled and stuff, so it's less, but that's like a $60 book. And so anyway, the point I'm trying to get back to after the big tangent is that I think that the reason a lot of these big games are rules heavy is that a rules heavy game means that you have more rules to publish, right? Which means you take up more book space. There are more pages. The books are bigger. And instead of publishing one book, like I have Shadow Dark, love Shadow Dark, right? But it's one book. It's one book this size. So you can charge $40 for that, right? And that's all the rules you need to play the game, $40. But imagine if we could have one book for everything the players need to know. There's a second book for everything the game master needs to know. And then there's a third book that has a bunch of monsters in it, And if you could publish 3 books, big books about 300 pages each, and charge $60 for each of those books, you're going to make way more money than if you have one solitary book that you can only charge $40 for, right? And so this is just me conjecturing why I think most publishers tend to, the big ones that I know about, right? Obviously I don't know everything, but a lot of these tend to be rules heavy because you can make more money doing it. And yes, you have to write more rules, and there's an upfront cost to that. But once you pay that upfront cost to getting the artwork and writing the content and editing it and all this kind of stuff and layout, once that upfront cost has been paid, it's paid. And then you have ongoing sales for books that it's printing money for you. You know what I mean? Yes, the upfront costs for a book like this are much lower than 3 big books, right? Yes, but over the long term, this type of size of book isn't going to pull in nearly as much revenue as 3 big books, right? So anyway, that's just like me off on a tangent, conjecturing why I think that a lot of these tend to be rules heavy, because there's more money in it, baby. And publishers that's their job. It's a business. They're there to make money. And if they're not going to be in business very long. So that's something they have to consider, the bottom line. All right. I'm teaching you the business. Yeah, this is like, I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just thinking, right? Let's see. No, we don't ban people for different beliefs. I don't care what you believe. That's true. Goliath Cleric and I so Goliath Cleric works for me. He's my employee. He and I are probably on the opposite sides of like belief systems. Okay. Probably for sure politics, probably religion, I would guess. I don't care. He and I work together. Like our job is to like publish books and get work done, you know? And so it doesn't matter. So nobody's getting banned for that stuff. I thought it was completely silly when I got kicked out of that Discord because of my political beliefs, you know? Well, I didn't even say anything about my political beliefs. They assumed certain things based on something I did, based upon a video I made. They assumed certain things, you know, and then they kicked me out preemptively. Didn't even talk to me anything. Just boop, you're gone. Kicked you out because they perceived that I believed differently than them. So anyway, I just think that's silly. It's crazy. You know, they just want to create an echo chamber over there. And if somebody believes something differently, then, oh no, no. It's silly. Even Shadowdark will end up with bloat. I mean, they're always going to publish more content. That's how you survive in publishing. You publish more books. If you stop publishing books, you die. Unfortunately, there are projects who add dozens of classes to Shadowdark. It doesn't need them. I mean, but that's what players want. That's what players want. And that's what is going to help your business to survive. You have to keep publishing more content. You can't just like, Kelsey can't just like stop publishing stuff and stop running Kickstarters. Her company will die, you know, and her livelihood will die. She has to keep making stuff. And so she asks, I'm sure, I don't talk to her, you know, very much, but like, I'm sure she asks herself, okay, premise, this is my livelihood. Premise, I need to keep making money in order to pay the bills and have a retirement and, you know, do fun stuff. Okay. Therefore, I need to keep making money. All right, I got to keep making money. Great. The core books for Shadowdark it's already made. All right, so what do people want to buy? What might they buy? What kinds of things should I consider publishing so that people will buy them, or they might buy them? And so then you ask yourself, what do people want? What do people want? Do game masters want anything else? Game masters probably want more monsters. Yep, we could give game masters more monsters. They probably would like that. Okay, cool. Game masters, a campaign setting. They might want a campaign setting. And that was her last Kickstarter, a campaign setting. I supported it. I'm going to get that book when it comes out. And then now that's game masters. What might players want? What might players buy? Players always want to buy more classes. Player options, hot sellers, baby, hot sellers. If you look at D&D 2024, what did they really update? Player options. The classes all got revamped. Some of the spells got changed. Some for good, some for bad, you know. But what else got changed, really? It's all player options. And what did they do to those player options? They made them more powerful. Why? Because players always want more power. So you're trying to sell books, you give people what they want. Like this is publishing 101. So like, yes, she's asking herself, what will people buy? And so of course they're going to publish more classes, more player options. It's going to be on the slate, you know. And other people who are publishing for Shadow Dark are considering what will people buy. Like their Roll for Combat did a Shadow Dark publication of 3 books that were all monsters, 3 monster books. I run Shadow Dark games. I want more monsters. I backed the project, so I'm going to get more monsters, you know? And so this is something that publishers ask themselves. What do people want? What will they buy? And those are the same thing. What people want is what they will buy. So you ask, what do they want? And then we give them a thing, and then they give us money in exchange. It's an equitable exchange of value, right? And so this is what you do. So yes, you're going to have more classes and more player options for Shadow Dark. It's going to happen. You have to do that. Otherwise, you watch your business die. You're like, Our job is to get work done is one of the tautologies of all time. What the heck is a tautology? Gotta look that up. Tautology. A tautology. The saying of the same thing twice in different words, generally considered to be a fault of style. Oh, you're accusing me to have a fault of style. But no, our job is literally to get work done. Like, what else is your job? Make money? Okay, our job is to make money. All right, whatever. Luke getting kicked out of a hive mind. Yeah, I get kicked out of lots of hive minds. I'm a bad boy. I have, you know, certain beliefs. Oh, I agree that 5e players are already overpowered, but that's what players want, you know? It's kind of frustrating for new game masters, but once you're a veteran game master, you can deal with the overpowered stuff pretty easily. It might still annoy you, but it's like, I can deal with that. It doesn't, you know. The Moose Coffeco, hello, says, thanks for all you do, reading a lot of lit RPG books like Induction and Dungeon Crawler Carl. The game mechanics have a lot to do with buffs from supporting characters and limited one-time use. Cool. Well, you're very welcome. The idea of lit RPG is very interesting to me. I haven't read any of them, but it's super interesting to me. So turning Shadow Dark slowly into what people got Shadow Dark to escape. I mean, sure. Yeah. It's going to happen inevitably. It will happen inevitably. Yeah. And then somebody else will come along to be the new rules light. Buy one book and play the game forever. You know. The Chaos Human, hello. Wanted to say thank you for the video you posted on paid game mastering. It really helped me out beginning start playing. Cool. I'm happy to help, dude. I run how many? I think I run 3 games on start playing now. Yeah, I run 3 games on Start Playing now, and I love it. It's fun. It's great. And those are, let's see, it's my Saltmarsh game, my Shadow Dark game, and then my No Quarter game. Yeah, those are fun games. It's a lot of fun. I agree. It's pretty easy to compensate for OP characters. Rocket Crotch, what up, dude? 5e players are only as OP as the GM's ability to balance the game allows them to be. Yeah. I'm whenever I get players are always like, I want the power, but like if you're like, I want the power, and you're in my game, then like I'm sitting there looking at your power, smirking, not to your face, but I'm smirking, and then behind the scenes I'm changing things to like nullify your power in a way that you don't notice it so much, so that you still feel like you're the master of the universe, but the game become balanced all of a sudden. Like this is the thing, 5th edition paladins at high levels, they add their charisma bonus. All of the players within like 30 feet of them get the paladin's charisma bonus added to their saving throws. So at high levels, everybody's saving throws are off the charts. And the 5th edition is a what is that word now? Bounded accuracy. 5th edition is a bounded accuracy game system. So every little +1 or +2 makes a difference. And so when everybody's saving throws get a +5 or a +6 across the board added to them, that throws things way out of balance. So what does Luke do? Luke just increases the DCs by about 3 or 4 for everything across the board. That's it. So like, yeah, I'm gonna counterbalance that +5, +6. Yeah, I'm not gonna negate it completely, but like, you dang right, I'm gonna adjust things. You kidding me? Good gravy. All right. I had some more questions I missed. Let's go back to this sheet. Brian Dixon says, I want to know all the things, but specifically for me, I would love to know, how do you plan what kind of issues an unknown group might have while running the adventure? You can't plan for that. That's the game master's problem. So Brian's question, your question is about publishing adventures, right? So basically what you do is you have to make an assumption. You have to make an assumption that you have a game master with a brain running the game, and that he is, or she is, going to adapt on the fly based upon what the characters do. You have to make that assumption. You cannot write, if you try to write an adventure that accounts for every little tiny thing that the players might do, that adventure is going to be so long that it becomes, it takes too much of your time to make. And it also becomes unusable to the game master. You can't have like a decision tree all over the place. Like every little choice could lead to this, which leads to this. And then there are like infinite branches and decision trees. You can't write an adventure like that. You have to make the assumption that the game master has a brain, and they are going to improvise on the fly and adjust things as needed based upon the character's actions. You have to make that assumption. So like, you do your very best to set the scene, to explain what is in all the different areas and locations. You explain the motivations of major NPCs, you give the monsters, you give some general role-playing notes for the monsters and NPCs and stuff, so you give some general information, right? And then you can't really do a whole lot more than that. Now, you might have some developments where, like, if the big things, if your players decide to do this, then this. But at a very high level, like the obvious things, But if you try to plan for every eventuality and player choice, you're done. You're never going to finish that adventure, and nobody's going to buy it because it's going to be a big, cumbersome beast that isn't even usable. So yeah, you have to assume the game master has a brain and that they're going to use that brain. I think that is an assumption you have to make. And you're like, what if they're a new game master and they don't know how to do that? Well, then they're going to have to fall off that tricycle a few times, smash their face up, wipe the blood away, and figure out how to ride it. Like you just can't handle them forever. And most people that play this game are smart enough to figure crap out. They're not going to be so. I have floaties in my tea. I don't know what that means. Does anybody know? This is the tea I have. It's this Arizona holy crap. Arnold Palmer. And it's got floaties in it. Why does it have floaties in it? Is it just because it has to be shaken up? I'm hoping that's all it is. But I looked down in my cup and it had like floaties at the bottom of it, like dregs almost. That was a little concerning to me. I'm still drinking it. So it's not that concerning. Have you ever had an experience where a player in character may have actually struck your core as a DM or your DMing skills? I don't understand what that means. Your question is kicking my butt. Have you ever had an experience where a player in character may have actually struck your core as a DM? I don't know what the expression struck your core means. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I'm not capable of answering that. Oh, whoops, I'm clicking the wrong button. The lemon chunks? No, it's just like very small particulates. There's like small particulates in the bottom of it. I don't know how else to describe it. They're very tiny. They're tiny, small particulates, like super tiny little specks, but tons of them all over the place. What advice do you think is most beneficial to include in a game master's guide? Oh, I have no idea. I've never even thought about that question before. Well, I mean, I guess my gut reaction is like when I think about most game master guides, they always have technical information in them, you know, like how do you technically run the game? You know, how do you balance encounters? How do you do this thing? How do you create a campaign setting? How do you design a villain? How do you design an NPC? You know, they always have these technical things, but like, I don't know that that's the hardest part of being a game master. I think for me, the more challenging aspect of being a game master and the things that when I'm a player, the things that I most frequently see as flaws in game masters is their soft skills. Like, how do they handle problem players or problem resolution in the game table? You know, how good are they at like talking to people, interacting with people? How well can they manage their table? Can they notice if a player is quiet and other players are very talkative? Are they trying to include that player, or are they just kind of like whatever, it's their problem type of thing? How like relationally intelligent, emotionally intelligent are they? That type of thing. So like, I think a lot of the deficiencies I tend to see that impact the game the most are the soft skills. Like as a game master, do they have those soft skills to be able to run the game competently? The technical skills, like designing monsters, NPCs, and adventure design, like sure, that helps, but like usually those aren't the big flaws I see that make a game suck. You know, usually I see this. So I guess that's probably stuff that I think is more useful to actually helping people become better game masters than the technical crap, you know? Because if you think about why a lot of games fail and peter out and stuff, like, is it really because they couldn't design good monsters or good NPCs? Or was it because, you know, they didn't have social skills or something? I don't know. That's like a thought exercise there. I'm just kind of like throwing out a bunch of questions into the universe, I suppose. So, I don't know. The best way to get cheap minis are Reaper Bones Kickstarters. Hands down, best way to get cheap minis and quality minis. Reaper Bones Kickstarter. When is the next one? Come on, baby. When's my next one? When is the next one? There's got to be a way. Show me all of their projects. Because I just... Dungeon Dwellers. Did I back... I hope I didn't miss that. I know I did this one. Did I back this one? I'm pretty sure I backed this one. Did I back this one? Oh my gosh. Please tell me I backed this. Did I back this Kickstarter? Did I miss it? Oh, I hope I didn't miss it. Where are my backed projects? Oh, I think I missed this one. How did I miss this? Oh no. Oh, I missed it. Oh no. Holy crap. How did I miss this? Oh, dude, I gotta back this. Wait, what do you mean I did not? Yeah, it did. Oh, this is a role. Oh, never mind. They're making a role-playing game. I don't care about this. This is their. Oh man, they're wasting their time. Give me more minis. Oh, jeez. That's why I didn't back it, because I don't care about this. I wanted more minis. Reapers is a mini company, and they didn't do a mini book. Look at this. You guys, they're wasting their time. They made $200,000 on this. Oh. Why did they only make $200,000? Because they're a miniature company, and they decided to make books. Oh, these guys, they kill me. Because look at this. Look at this, you guys. This was a bad decision. This is a business decision they regret. I 100% guarantee you. I made one of those recently too. So I am not exempt from making bad business decisions, but so they normally make like crap tons of money. Look at this. Look at this, you guys. Their Kickstarters usually pull in, this is almost $2 million on a Reaper Bones miniature Kickstarter, almost $2 million. And then they decide to do a role-playing game and it pulls in 200,000 for 3 books. They're probably breaking even. Oh, wow. I hope they have a plan for ongoing sales because they probably just lost their butt on this. $200,000 for 3 books. And then if you consider the size of the team they have and stuff, I bet you this is probably, they're probably losing money on this. Oh my goodness. It's a D20 based resolution system. Of course it is, because everyone uses D20 these days. Jeez. My game system, by the way, does not use D20s at all. Ugh, these guys. This makes me sad. I love Reaper. I love Reaper miniatures. I love their miniatures, and it makes me sad that they decided to make a role-playing game instead of just making more miniatures. When's the next batch of miniatures going to come out, though? Oh, hold on a second. When did this campaign run, though? This is hard to tell. I know I backed this one. I know I got this one. I think I already got these. No, I already received these. I already received these minis. I know I have them. I've been painting them. So I already have these. When is their next one? Yeah. This is a good project. I want to know when their next actual Bones. Oh, these guys. How can you tell when they're going to launch a new one? These guys kill me. I want number 7. Reaper Bones number 7. Does anybody know how to tell when they're launching their next one? Because I cannot miss it. I'm probably gonna. No, you know what? I'll get an email. I will get an email when they launch. I was just freaking out for a moment there. Ooh, Hero Quests. Those are cool minis. I have the originals. Oh, it's super cool. It's got minis? Oh, I didn't. You know what? I didn't even know it had minis. I just ignored it. I literally ignored it. I didn't even know it had minis. Because this is what I saw. Role-playing game. Immediately not interested. This is probably all I saw. When I got this email, I'm sure I got the email notification and came here. But as soon as I saw that it was just a role-playing game, because usually, here's the thing, usually what you do in your like hero image right here is you show everything that people are going to get. and their hero image, top of the fold hero image, is kind of crummy. It doesn't show me everything you're going to get. You have to scrolly. And now I'm starting to actually see like what I'm going to get. Oh, it does have some minis, but it just has like heroes. I don't care about that. See, now we're actually getting this. This should be a hero minute. This should be their hero image. This is a huge missed opportunity. They included for their tiers, they have kind of hero imagey stuff. This right here, all of this miniature stuff. Oh, this should have all been at the top of the fold hero image. That should have been right here. Prime real estate. We have prime real estate that's being wasted with blocks of text. Wasted with blocks of text. Oh my gosh, this is just such a horribly composed. Yeah, they really screwed the pooch on this one. They could have implemented this a whole lot better. Jeez. I mean, they probably do that normally, right? Like, why would you not do it? No, they still don't know how to do it. Well, this is already closed, so I don't know what their hero image was before. Wait, this is the campaign. Yeah, you can't. They updated this. Well, see, this is what the hero image should be. It should show you what you're getting, like all of the cool stuff, and get people excited. That should be the very first thing you see when you land on the page. Bam! Ah, cool amazingness. Eee. Buy. Pledge. Where's the button? Where do I click? How do take my money? You know? But they didn't do that, and this project flopped. I probably would have backed this if I had known there were minis. But they put it all the way down here. Oh, wow. Well, that ship has sailed. No, I'm not late pledging now. You've already disappointed me. All right. Anyway, let's go. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. Yeah, as a rule of thumb, you get one scroll of a mouse wheel to convince someone to buy. Yeah, they didn't do it for that one. I didn't even know it had minis. Until somebody in chat was like, Luke, you can just get it's got minis, get the minis. And I was like, it's got minis? I didn't know that. All right, I think I got more questions. Let's see. Has a player's role-playing moment ever made you feel as though your DMing skills were inadequate due to plot holes or overlooked story elements? Yes. Basically by calling you out without calling you out. Yes. Oh, absolutely. And you know the single best thing you can do when that happens? Poker face, baby. You poker face that crap and you pretend like you know the answer and they're missing something. You don't say anything. You just play that baby out, man. Because remember, this is all smoke and mirrors. They do not know what's behind the screen. They're making an assumption, right? Role playing it out that there's something wrong here, that this setup, this scenario doesn't make sense, that the game master may have screwed something up. But they're making that assumption. If you play that out well enough with that poker face and that sly smile, you know, maybe, then they'll second guess themselves and be like, oh crap. Maybe I'm missing something. And they are missing something. Because after that game session, now that that plot hole or whatever has been exposed, you're going to be like, all right, I got to figure this out. How am I going to figure this out? I screwed this up and I got to figure out how I can make this make sense. And then you figure it out, right? And then by the time the next game session comes around, it's all figured out. And they might never bring it up again. But absolutely, that happens all the time. 100%. I already did that one. How do you handle player shopping? I hate shopping. I hate shopping sessions. Do you want to know how I handle shopping in No Quarter, our new game system? This is how I handle shopping. There is no shopping. You are assumed to be a competent group of adventurers. You have access to all of the standard equipment: ropes, candles, caltrops, pitons, a grappling hook, a crowbar. You want some nails? You can have some nails, sure. How about like bed rolls? Yeah, absolutely. Pillows? Sure. How about some flasks of oil? That's reasonable. You can have a reasonable amount of those. All right, how about a big like cask of ale? I'll allow you one of those, but that's a little bit too much. How about a wheelbarrow? Yeah, sure. That's reasonable. All right. Yes. So that's how I handle it. That's how we handle it in No Quarter. We're just like, you are competent adventurers. You have access to all of the supplies, the equipment that you would think you would need. You know what I mean? We're not going to keep track of every copper piece and silver piece and gold piece. You know, now gold pieces are important because you use those for training and leveling up, increasing your powers and training and getting better skills and stuff. So you do keep track of gold, but I'm not going to like nickel and dime you over like, how many candles did you buy? Do you have a copper piece for that cup of that glass of ale? You know what I mean? So that's how we handle shopping. It's like, we're just not doing shopping because shopping is like, I don't know, maybe people out there like shopping in D&D, but like, I hate it. I hate being the game master when it's shopping time. I hate being the player when it's shopping time. Whenever possible, I tell my players, like, go shopping between sessions. Okay? We're going to start the next adventure. After the game's over, you guys just do the shopping and, you know, get it done. I don't want to spend a half an hour to an hour of our game time shopping. It's horrible. It's like, well, Luke, you know, you could role play out the shopping encounters. Oh my gosh, so make it take longer? Haggling in character with merchants? Oh man. Now, I accept that there are people out there that love that crap and would totally sign up for that. And that's fine. But that's not me. That's not me, man. I want to be doing the adventuring. I want to be in the dungeon. I want to be like overcoming traps or puzzles or obstacles. I want to be talking to the NPCs of importance in the adventure. I want to be dungeon delving. I want to be fighting monsters. Like, that's the stuff I want to be doing in my game time. I don't want to be shopping. I hate shopping. I hate it. The passion. I'll just hand wave that crap. You know, I tell my players when there is a shopping session, when we have to do some shopping for whatever reason, I'll just be like, you guys just buy what you want to buy. All right? Like, don't talk to me. Look at your books and just do the bookkeeping, you know? Buy it. Call it a day. And then let's go. Let's play the game. Come on, guys. Let's go. That's how I handle shopping. So, what items do you know to stock the shop with? If it's in the book, it's available. If it's like a magic item, no. Any mundane equipment. This is not the book I'm talking about, but pretend this is the player's handbook. If it's in the player's handbook in the equipment section, it's available. You can buy it. All right. Magic stuff, no. All right. But if it's in the player's equipment, you can buy it. That's how I stock it. Now, what about healing potions? Okay, you know what? We should probably roll for that. There are 18 of them available. If you want to buy them and you got the money, buy them. You know, but most of the time I just tell them to look at their books and pay the prices listed and call it a day. And I trust them to do it. You know, if they're cheating and buying more than they should or not subtracting their gold, whatever. That's not that. I don't care about that. It's like, that's not the game I want to play, where I'm like the bookkeeping game. Oh man. This is like one of our design pillars for No Quarter is to minimize bookkeeping as much as possible. So yeah, shopping and keeping track of every little copper piece is the bookkeeping. And there are probably like 0.001% of players enjoy that. Everybody else is just like, pfft. That's why you all get bags of holding and are just like, just throw the bag of holding. Because you don't care about bookkeeping, man. It's stupid. Unless you're an accountant. And you probably still hate it. It's just, it makes money, and so you do it, right? But you'd rather you didn't have to. I tried to learn accounting because I run a business. So I'm like, I should learn how to keep my own books. I got a book that talked about accounting, and I was like, this sucks. I'm smart. I could figure this out, but this sucks. Do I really want to spend my time doing the bookkeeping for my business? No. Do I have enough money to pay somebody else to do the bookkeeping? Yes. Pay somebody else. Oh my gosh. Have fun, guys. I think I answered that question. I keep clicking the wrong button. My Tuesday game as a player is an anime D&D game. I don't enjoy it. Leave the game then. How do I tell him I don't want to play anymore? They are also my players that I DM on Thursdays. You, my friend, are in a sucky position. I'm going to give you two answers. You have two possibilities. One will take courage and might potentially lose you friends. The other will take far less courage and keep everything smooth sailing. One option involves honesty. The other option involves a social lie. I will let your ethics and morals help you choose which one is preferable for you in your particular situation. So the honest route is, hey guys, this game isn't my cup of tea. So I kind of just don't want to play anymore. Now, wordsmith that a little bit, make it sound a little bit nicer, but essentially that's the message. This game isn't my cup of tea, right? It's not my personal preference. It's not a bad game, right? It's just, I personally don't find it super enjoyable. You don't gotta go into details, you know what I mean? And just try to bow your way out of it. But you're trying to take the honest approach, in as pleasant and kind and loving a way as possible. You're trying to tell them, hey, I don't want to play anymore. I'm not enjoying it. I'm not having fun, whatever, you know what I mean? But you want to try to frame that as much as possible in a way that you're not trying to accuse them of wrongdoing or make them feel bad or say that they're bad, say that they're a bad game master or they're bad players. It's just not your cup of tea, and you probably want to be prepared to explain why in more detail, because they're probably going to ask. And the game master might even be like, well, maybe we can change some things so that you like it more. And if you've already decided that you want to leave and it's not going to work, and then you got to be ready to stick to your guns, unless they are going to change it in a way that meaningfully makes the game better for you. Well, then maybe you stay, but that's the honest route, The more common route, shall we say, involves coming up with a socially accepted white lie, for no better way of putting it. And that is essentially to say something along the lines of, hey, I really don't have time to play this game anymore. This is the common reason that almost every player ever has given me for leaving a game. They don't have time, right? I don't have time to do this anymore, And we all know that, yes, time is finite, but you will always find time to do the things you really love. And so for someone who no longer has time, we all know that really just means that they're doing something else with their time, whatever that might be. They're, the newest Final Fantasy might have come out, and that's what they're doing right now. They might be really into theater, and they just landed a couple roles that's going to take up a bunch of their time, and they're going to do that instead of playing in your game. Sure, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but they've found something else to fill their time up, and they no longer have time for your game. That's fair, and that happens a lot, So that does happen. But we also know that people, if they just don't like your game, they will often say they don't have time as a socially acceptable way to get out of your game. But that's the route you could choose to take too, is just coming up with some socially acceptable thing of why you can't play anymore, and usually involves not having time. That's the most common thing I've heard. I don't have time anymore. And then you try to, because then you're trying to back out under the premise of it's not that I don't enjoy the game, right? It's that I don't have time to play anymore. And what are you going to do if you don't have time? You don't have time. Ugh. So that's the idea. And you got to try to pitch that and, think about how you're going to approach that and all that kind of thing, And so you just choose one of those two routes, tell them the truth or come up with something that's going to get you out of the predicament while minimizing the potential fallout, So
And I feel like which you decide to take is going to depend upon your personal ethics and morals, and also the emotional constitution of your friend group, your players and the game master, right? Like, are they big boys? Are they capable of you saying to them, hey, this isn't my cup of tea. I love you guys. I love playing with you guys, but this game isn't my cup of tea and I just don't want to play anymore. Can they take that? Can they handle that? Right? Because if they can, then shoot, dude, they're big boys. They can take it. Now, if they're all a bunch of like immature little, and they're going to crumble in the corner and cry because like you don't want to play in their game anymore, then maybe you got to feel, okay, well now I got to like, adapt my approach to help to like meet them where they are because of their lack of emotional fortitude or whatever. So I don't know. I feel like you got to pick whichever approach is going to work better in your particular circumstance, I don't know. I feel like that's probably like a couple different routes to take for that. For a late Christmas gift, I thought about paying a DM to host a one-shot for my D&D group on Call of Cthulhu. Ooh. Okay, cool. Killer Kitty. Hello, Killer Kitty. What up? Are there warning signs I need to watch for sourcing a DM pay to play? I don't know you well enough to know what sorts of things you would watch for. I can definitely tell you that if I were on Start Playing and I were considering getting a game master, that there are definitely things that I would be looking for. There are like tags they put beneath their name to describe them and stuff. And there are definitely things that if someone were to put it beneath their name, or they would have it in their about section or something, and I were to read it, there are definitely warning signs for me personally where I would be like, oh, I don't want to play with this person. But I don't know you well enough to like be able to tell you what those warning signs should be, because I think those are like more of a personal thing. Because these are like, because what else can you really know about a person but what they say about themselves until you play with them? Which leads me to my next piece of advice, which is going to be, before paying them to host a one shot for your game, for your players, I would play in a normal game with them. A lot of these game masters have open slots in their games. Find a game that they're running and just join as a player, so you can experience how they game master first before you're like, here's $500 to run a one shot for us, right? And then you can actually play in a game and experience it for them. That's the best way to do it. And then you're going to know and then if they suck or you don't like them for whatever reason, try somebody else and just keep doing that until you find someone who you're like, this is the guy or this is the girl, and they're going to be the one to do it, and then you approach them and hire them for that one shot. So I would do that. That's the safer route. It takes more time, right? So I would not couch this as a late Christmas gift, because then you feel this time pressure I got to do it fast. Screw that crap. Your players don't know you're going to do it anyway. They don't know anything. This could be their Valentine's present. I love you all so much. I'm doing this for Valentine's Day. That gives you a couple more months, or 2 months or 3 months. I think it's 2 months. February is Valentine's Day, I think. So yeah, but that's probably the best way to vet a game master before putting down a bunch of money. All right, I got that one. All right, cool. Daniel McGuffey, hello. How do I run 5e on a tight budget? Don't buy the books. I don't have any books, and I was only able to get Monsters of the Multiverse, which is one of the books I need. What should I do for loot and spells? The SRD is free. All right, check this out. I'm gonna blow your mind. D&D 5e SRD. Creative Commons. Let's find out where they put this sucker. D&D Beyond right here. All right. Get the SRD either for 2024 or 2000. So it's right here. English downloads. Get the SRD. It's got everything you need. It's got spells. It's got magic items. It's got equipment. It literally has like all that horse crappery is in here.
Just pick up the SRD, call it a day. You're good to go. Whee! You don't got to get any plagiarized crap or anything. It's free. It's free. That's what I would do. Oh, library. Yeah, your library might have a copy of D&D. Who knows? It's possible. It's possible. Ideas for an evil warlock's patron might be playing in Vecna. Oh, baby, I'm going to outsource that question. I love these sorts of questions. Hold on a second. Where is that stinking thing? All right, hold on a second. We're going to outsource this question. Stand by. Stand by. I don't do creative brainstorming. I do not do creative brainstorming on streams. I outsource that horse crap. Let's see. Want to hide that. Hide that. All right. Here we go. Okay. All right. Give me ideas for who a warlock's patron might be. Vecna. I don't know. All right, baby, let's go. Rock and roll. Let's brainstorm this crap. Vecna is a patron. All right, look at that. The Whisper in the Margin. The God of Lost Names. Vecna. So it could be Vecna, the Whisper in the Margin. No, it's not Vecna. Okay, no. It's not Vecna. Something else. 5 options. Succinct. Come on, baby. Oh, it's still going. Nope, I already gave you a new prompt. Let's go, baby. The Pale Witness. An unseen observer that grants power in exchange for never intervening, only watching and recording truth. That would suck in a D&D game. But the Warlock's like, I'm sorry, guys. I can't do anything. And Eldritch Blast is off the table. I'm only a witness. Your other players would hate you. Asher, the Broken Crown. A dethroned god who empowers those willing to bend promises without fully breaking them. Ooh, now that would be interesting in gameplay. The Cinder Saint, a martyr entity that rewards power only when the warlock gives something up. Blood, memories, or futures. That could be an interesting roleplay choice, too. The Umbral Choir, a chorus of forgotten souls speaking as one, lending magic in return for spreading obscurity and silence. The beginning of that sounds really cool. Spreading obscurity and silence doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But this, a chorus of forgotten souls, oh, that sounds really interesting as a patron. Ithrexis below, an ancient thing sealed beneath reality, using the warlock as a pressure valve rather than a servant. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, so there could be like points in time where you get like surges of power. That would be an interesting game mechanic to work in there. There you go. If you need me to help brainstorm some more stuff, me and ChatGPT are ready to go, baby. There we go. I don't brainstorm creative ideas in chat in live streams. That's not my job. So basically, Luke just Googled it for you. Yeah. But I gave him a real answer. Those are real answers. Yeah. All right. Oh, you said no Vecna. Oh yeah. I missed that part. I gave you something though. Jay Tyler says, played Shadow Dark yesterday, loved it. 5e minus the excess. Yeah. It's good stuff. It's fun. All the libraries in the city I live in have at least one copy of the D&D 5e Player's Handbook. The main library downtown has like 10. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently playing D&D in libraries is like a big thing. Like this is kind of common or something. So yeah, it would not surprise me if your library has D&D books. Not surprise me at all. Yeah, I should go to my local library and just see what they have. I've never even entered it. I started in the school library. Oh, I gotta go, guys. That's the live stream. It's after 2. I'm done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with me. I'll be back in a couple of weeks. What we're going to be doing the next time I have a live stream is Zach and I will be on. I'm pretty sure we will be on playtesting No Quarter, our new TTRPG for you. We'll playtest it, and then we'll have like a little design meeting for you guys all to watch, and we'll make changes to it and update things, and we'll answer questions about it that you guys might have. But basically, you're going to get an opportunity to see No Quarter in action as we literally play through it. So that will be our next live stream in a couple weeks, and we will see you all then. Have yourselves a wonderful new year. Right? Don't do anything stupid that you're gonna regret. All right. We're gone. I gotta find the buttons. I'm gonna find the buttons, and we're gonna be done here. Wee.